We are ready to go, I think. Hello, everybody.
Okay, you just say the word when we get started. I'm still
Sure.
yeah.
I removed the waiting room, so that means anyone else can just comment, so they won't be.
Perfect. Okay, great.
So we can start with introductions. So I'll let Ms. Hill, Maria, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us tonight. My name is Maria Hill. I'm one of the assistant principals at DePaul Prep. Just finished up my 4th year at DePaul, but my 30th year, finished up my 30th year in education. So glad to be with all of you tonight.
My name is Kaylee O'Neill. I am a learning specialist. I just finished up my 2nd year and I'm excited for all of your students to be seniors very soon.
Hi, I'm Flo Merkel Deutsch. I'm the Director of Mission and Ministry, and I'm finishing up my 8th year here at DePaul Prep. And we have a team that includes me and 3 other campus ministers.
Hello, I'm Kate Koschel, and I've been at DePaul for this is going to be my 2nd full year, and I'm so excited to just be closing up my work with my caseload of the class of 2025. I also work with Tony Menestra, the Director of College Counseling, Kelly Curtin, and we work closely with the school counselors as well. So I'm representing college counseling and school counseling tonight. All right. So tonight's meeting, Maria's going to talk about some academic stuff in just a minute, but we're going to discuss academic rigor, think about the developmental changes that students undergo, and consider supports available for this year of 12th grade.
Okay, and we'll begin in prayer as we do all good things at DePaul Prep. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Creator God, source of love, font of peace, we gather in your name as parents, guardians, and caregivers of teens. We give ourselves to you in this moment. When we are overwhelmed, give us confidence in the small steps. When we are stressed, help us to recognize joyful moments. When we are filled with worry, gift us with reassurance of your presence. When the day keeps us running, remind us to breathe in the life-giving air around us. Infuse us with the breath of the Holy Spirit, knowing that it is in us, but not of us. Give us patience and strength for the long days and quick years of childhood, and hold our hearts in your loving hands. We ask this in your name, O God. Amen. St. Vincent de Paul, pray for us. St. Louise de Marillac, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Back to you.
Kate, is this kind of I think this might be the start of mine.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Sorry, I thought I might have been on the next slide. So, so I'm going to cover a couple different. I'm going to highlight a few of the departments, but there's going to be kind of like a really a theme that's going to stand out amongst all of the different departments, and that is, what there is an element of rigor that increases. There's an element of independence that increases, and your student is becoming an adult. And so, with that, we want to put a lot of the responsibility on them, and that the adults around them are supporting them in ways, as opposed to doing the things for them. So again, some of the points here of 11th grade to 12th grade, time management is something that they've had to work on since 9th grade. The learning specialist team, counselors, all really work very hard with students in advisory and in their their courses to make sure that students are honing some of those skills. It's really going to be critical coming into 12th grade, because not only do they have their normal 12th grade coursework that they have to keep up with, but they have the added for those students who are seeking to continue their education in a post-secondary environment at a 2-year or 4-year college. There's going to be applications and essays and things that they are going to have to work on, and that it's really important that they are that they're managing their time really well and not wasting time that they have available at school with them through like either study hall or through any sort of an open period, and then using their time effectively at home and on the weekends. Kate will talk a little bit more about kind of that the college counseling side of things and what that's going to look like. Again, independent learning is a big part of this. Again, for those students who are going to be moving on to a 4-year institution, parents, if this is your oldest child, you will quickly learn that once they turn 18 and they are starting at the university level, you have very little interaction with students, with professors, with grades. Your student has to give you permission, has to grant you special permission for you to be able to access any of that information or to talk to anyone. No one at a university will speak with you. So if they are going off to college and they don't have those skills, and they haven't had a chance to practice them in a high school setting, it becomes a very challenging situation for them once they go on to college. So the independence, the self-advocacy, and again, conversations are really critical. I'm a parent as well. And so it's just having those constant, frequent conversations, trying to capture all of the opportunities that come up in order to, to get through some of the difficult situations. And so that's going to be a big piece of that transition of, again, hoping that your student's going to be coming to you for, advice and for guidance, as opposed, to you kind of taking over and managing all of that for them. Kate, and so again, current senior teachers, these are some of their pieces of advice or things that they will share. The next couple slides are very text heavy. You'll be able to read through this. We're going to share all of this with families, so you can go back and reread anything or reflect on anything. But these are some of the characteristics that we see of seniors. So again, the joys of teaching seniors is that we see a much greater maturity. I mean, conversations, discussions in classes are much more in depth because the maturity level is higher, and they're much more knowledgeable, and they're taking a lot more ownership of their learning. Again, we're really stressing that becoming an independent learner, being less reliant on the teacher, kind of spoon feeding everything to them. And it's like really, really requiring them to do a lot of the heavy lifting, the work, the thinking. Teachers can't do that for them. They can guide them. Again, being able to, kind of think outside of their immediate communities. Some of them are looking, part of their independence is getting a job, and then also balancing, those responsibilities with their academic responsibilities. So these are all really fantastic things and the joys of teaching seniors. But again, some challenges. Maturity, there's a great, there's really a wide range of that. So while sometimes seniors can show great maturity maybe in one area, maybe they're not having the same level of maturity in other areas. And so it's, as a parent, it's kind of looking for those different areas. And it's like, well, where they're really excelling, giving that positive reinforcement, but then where areas where they're needing some growth, it's again, pushing them, coaching them, guiding them to, excel in kind of all of those areas. Leaving junior year, this is a lot of what we hear with juniors, is that, they are stressed. They're stressed about the college admission process. They're stressed kind of going into the summer. They might walk away believing like they have to now, join a million different things. They end up stretching themselves too thin. And so that's something that we really recommend as, as partners, is again, working with your student to making sure that they have a balanced academic life, balanced social life, again, other responsibilities, whether it's athletics or a job, that they aren't, they're not pushing themselves where they're getting, 2-3 hours of sleep at night. And that's going to start affecting their physical health and their emotional health as well. So kind of again, this is a lot of text. I'm just going to kind of summarize with the math expectations, depending on what the student, depending on what their level is, but they're going to, be taking, really one of like 4 or 5 classes. It's going to be, statistics, AP stats, pre-calculus, IB mathematics, or calculus. And again, different, tracking in each of those areas, but, those are high level math classes, and it does require daily work. So, teachers will assign daily homework, and they may not necessarily be checking homework every single night, because again, this is part of that independent learning, but the expectation is that students are doing their homework. And if they start to fall in some bad habits of like, well, my teacher is not going to check, my teacher doesn't check homework every day or doesn't grade homework every day, so I'm not going to do it. With math, especially these high level math classes, they miss 1 or 2 days of homework, and they're going to fall, very much behind. And so it's really important that they stay on top of that, regardless of what the, if there isn't a grade outcome at the end of that homework assignment, that's okay, but it doesn't excuse them from not doing it, because falling behind on the homework is not going to set them up for success in the classroom. Homework is designed to be extra practice of what they've learned in class, or perhaps a preview of what they're going to be doing in class. So homework, I would say, is really critical in every course, but in mathematics, it absolutely is imperative that they stay on top of their homework. And the best piece of advice I think that a lot of teachers will share with math is that math homework is not intended to be, 2-3 hours of homework. So, if a student is spending more than about, 5-10 minutes on a problem, that's something they need to communicate with the teacher the next day. Even the most challenging problem, if they really understand it, should be accomplished within 10 minutes at the most. And so if they're spending a half hour on a math problem and they don't really understand what's happening, at that point, they need to stop. It's not the best use of their time, and they need to communicate. They need to, communicate with their teacher the very next day, show them the steps that they took, so that the teacher can kind of see, well, where did you get hung up on things? And oftentimes those problems can be resolved with, a couple minutes one-on-one instruction, and then, they're set up for success. So that's a really big piece of advice when it comes to kind of the math department expectations. And, it is meant to be, they, maybe somebody who always scored, earned A's, in math pretty easily, with these higher level classes. It's not uncommon to see students earning B's and C's. It doesn't mean that they're failing the class. It just means it's challenging, and they may have to change some approaches, to what maybe had worked well in the past on easier math is not necessarily working this time around. So it's important to, again, communicate early, communicate often, with the teacher. Teacher can provide lots of resources and lots of support, that are available within the school, so that students get on the right track with learning that. Social sciences, again, a variety of different electives. A lot of our seniors, do take at least, they at some point in their high school career have taken at least one AP or IB social studies class. So again, a lot of this really requires, it's not a situation where they're reading text and just answering comprehension questions. So this level of work is, they're doing a lot of inferencing, they're analyzing text, they're kind of drawing conclusions. The answer isn't always easily found in the text. That's where they have to apply some of their critical thinking skills. So again, if your student is kind of struggling with some of that, it's important to speak with their teacher early, because the teacher can provide some strategies for them to, when they sit down and start reading, or how they're studying, because it is going to be different than what they've done at some of the lower level social studies classes. English department, as you can see, at the English department level, they have AB Lang, AB Lit, AP Lit, AP Lang, IB, literature, and then CP. And so at the CP level, this kind of highlights, again, they're working on a variety of different pieces of literature. They are working in different genres. They're looking at nonfiction, fiction, poetry. There's a lot of writing. Their college essay is a part of that curriculum. So, we encourage students to kind of get started on that over the summer. But then their English class, they have an opportunity to receive peer feedback, teacher feedback, and have time to make some revisions so that they can upload their Common App essay. And it's several eyes have been on it and have provided a lot of feedback. So that is something that we do incorporate within the curriculum. But again, workload, there is a lot of reading, very similar to the social sciences. It's going to require them to, do a lot of close reading, a lot of analysis, and a lot of inferencing, and less about what did you read and who are the main characters. It's going a lot deeper in that, and it's preparing them for the college experience. And then with summer assignments, with applying to most of the classes, that will be released shortly. So the department chairs will be releasing information. There'll be summer work for most of the AP classes. So it requires some reading, some videos. Some classes will include videos that students need to read. So the AP and the IB curriculum moves at a pretty fast pace. And so some of the summer work is just to get them, giving them a really solid foundation, a good introduction to the course, so that once once school starts, they kind of jump right into the content.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kaylee O'Neill. Again, I'm a learning specialist. I'm going to quickly touch on organizational expectations and executive functioning. So just echoing what Maria had just said, these students have now been at DePaul for 3 years, so they kind of know what to expect. Also with college right around the corner, we really want to emphasize that independence aspect. So when it comes to self-advocacy and executive functioning, we want our seniors to be as independent as possible. So when it does come to reaching out to teachers or reaching out to counselors, we want those seniors to be doing that all on their own. Obviously, if there are concerns, we will gladly be there for support. However, if a student is feeling uncomfortable or if they are in need of support, we do expect them to share that with us. Same thing with executive functioning. We want them to really focus on their organization and time management this year, again, because college is so close. So, again, we'll be there to support, but we really do recommend that our students come in with a way to help them stay organized and manage their time all on their own. So again, some of those things we recommend are daily planners. Just at, Target or whatever, they can get a cute little notebook with a calendar and a to-do list. I'm a huge Google Calendar person. That is a huge, right on the iPad, easy for the students to stay organized and manage their time. Senior year is going to be busy, so we want them to be able to track everything going on. One last thing to note, I know the whole college thing, and this might sound a little intimidating, but if you are feeling, worried as a parent, again, totally normal, but we do encourage you to tell your students to reach out to us rather than parents reaching out, again, just to get in that habit of independence. And then I'm just gonna quickly run through this slide as well. Again, these students have been at DePaul for 3 years, so they know what's coming. They know our school policies, the rules, academic expectations, all of that. So we just ask that our seniors act as leaders and that they model positivity and our core values in everything that they do. So again, we want them to be leaders. We want them to advocate for themselves. We want them to ask for help. We want them to, respect our school policies and rules. We want them to be self-aware, to make good choices. Again, those freshmen, sophomores, and juniors are looking right at them. So we want them to make those good choices for us. We want them to be able to put themselves in others' shoes and again, just become independent when it comes to organization, time management, all of those executive functioning skills. And that's it from me.
All right, now on to mission and ministry. So I just have a few updates, and actually I apologize for these photos on this slide. Thankfully, we're not wearing masks everywhere anymore. But I just wanted to go over a few areas, and most of this will not be news to you, but we're always here to answer questions. And as other people have reiterated, send your students to our office. We're always available to help with whatever you need. So some leadership opportunities in mission and ministry include leading one of our 5 junior Kairos retreats, or also the senior retreat Kairos that's left this fall. So I'll tell a little bit more about retreats on the next page. But these are the opportunities for specifically for leadership. We always have opportunities to serve as leaders within our prayer and our prayer service team. So that's reading, Eucharistic ministers, and that sort of thing, also on the planning end of prayers services. Service, couple of reminders. If your student is seeking to or is on track to earn the light blue service cord to wear at graduation, they can check on MobileServe themselves. These are the details of the expectations: 50 hours of community service, at least 40 at Chicago area nonprofits. And they can find Mr. Ford in Mission and Ministry if they have any specific questions about that. Regular opportunities are posted on Schoology and MobileServe, and the number of service opportunities offered in groups, say with athletic teams or co-curriculars, are also increasing. One thing I really want to stress is make sure they enter them on MobileServe. Everyone should have the app on their phone. They make it really easy. And it's valuable when you're applying to colleges and you want to be able to print out this portfolio of the service that each student has been a part of over their time here at DePaul Prep. Additionally, it really helps us because then in Mission and Ministry, we can find out what students are interested in. And additionally, we learn which nonprofits, additionally, it's a good story for us to tell outside of DePaul Prep. Next slide, please. So our senior retreat options, every senior will attend a retreat and registration has already begun. First of all, if your child has not attended Kairos, and 85% of our students do, we'd love to get that even closer to 100%. We have one final Kairos for seniors, and that is in September, and they can register. If you're wondering if you have registered, just send an email to me or to someone else in my department and we'll look it up. They can also apply, and we've already had over 100 rising seniors apply to be Kairos leaders. So that's very exciting. It's a competitive role, but we do have 48 opportunities. So 48 of those students will be used as leaders next year on Kairos for the juniors. Also, we developed our new our Vincentian capstone retreats, and Ms. Gleber has spearheaded that. It's very exciting. On the slide, you'll see a list of some of the opportunities. About 70% of the class has already registered for their retreats. We have the Darsh Center Summer Service Immersion. That's coming up in August before school begins, so they can actually check that box if they're anticipating a very busy senior year. Some of these retreats are day retreats, like art and spirituality, or transitions, or strengths, leadership, and teamwork. The women's retreat and men's retreats are single overnights. And then there's also one option to do the transitions overnight. And we've had a great response to these single gender retreats. This is going to be new this year. We're very excited about it. So if you have any questions, especially if it's about service, contact Mr. Ford. If it's about senior retreats, contact Ms. Gleber. I can always point you in the right direction. And Kairos questions go to Ms. Lozano. That's it for me in Mission and Ministry.
All right, so I'm going to be running slides and multitasking and talking about college counseling. So, summer is coming and it is a great time because students have finished their APs, their IBs, so they can start focusing on research. We really want students to dig into that research. So yes, you can look at videos at TikTok, but really they want to go to that college's website and find out what aligns with their values. What kind of things do they want to get involved in on campus? You can also use sources like CAPEX or Big Future on College Board. The DCP College Counseling website also has some nice links for you. But our goal is for our rising seniors to have about 8 to 12 schools that they truly know are places that they want to apply to by August 1st. And we want those schools to be balanced. So we want some schools that a student can really easily get into right where they're at. So those foundational schools, some that are right at their GPA level, and then some of those schools that may be hard to get in, but with the way colleges review students holistically, you know, it's really anybody's guess. But we want them to have some easy wins as well as some things to shoot for. Going on campus visits. So there might not be a lot of students over the summer, but at least students can get a feel for what the campus is like. So that's super important. Keep in mind too, in the fall, your students get 3 excused absences to visit colleges as long as they provide confirmation of a tour that they're actually going to. So take advantage of those October days off so students can really see a campus when it's lively. It's another time too to make really meaningful family connections. So you can talk about what kind of parameters do you have for your students' college list if you don't want them to go to Alaska, for example? You have some space to have some honest conversations when your student is not as stressed out and kind of lay the ground for what we're expecting in that college process. Your student can do summer ACT or SAT testing for the testing dates that are still available. And as well, we really want students to kind of begin that exploration for their essays. Really positively, I can say that we have met with every single English class in the junior class. We're doing our second session with AP seniors with Ms. Galvez and Mr. Sheldon this week. We've already met with IB and we've done a bunch with CP English. So all of your students have done some foundational brainstorming for essay work and have some additional homework that we gave them to generate more content. 2, our CP English class will be able to use their first unit to continue to work on their essays. And we are also available as college counselors to work with the AP and IB students to continue their drafting process. So I just want to show you real quick. I don't need to read these to you, but if your student wants to register for ACT testing, these are the dates for that. And then this is the SAT fall testing dates. And what I would note is usually we want students to test by that October date, so they have scores and time to use for November 1st deadlines. Your student can access their ACT score from our ABLE testing on the ACT website. And if they're having problems with their account, they can call ACT directly to get their account information resolved. Some other things to think about for summer experiences. A lot of times colleges like to see your student doing something really meaningful over the summer. So that could be a summer job that shows maturity. It could be working at a camp like our Boys and Girls Club. I found out one of our juniors is working there and possibly with one of my children, which is fun. They could also volunteer. Do pre-college campus programs. Some of them are still open, or they could explore their passions and hobbies if they like to do poetry or write. We do have a pre-college campus program document on the DCP College Counseling website. There are still some programs open, although it's very late. So you could look at some online classes with Notre Dame or Wake Forest. Or if you need some direction and your student is interested, email their college counselor and we can help you try to find something that could fit with your child's schedule. As far as fall program, just a little preview on what we have to offer for students. When we come back, seniors will be able to do some of their college work on their Common application during advisory. They'll integrate their Common application with Maya, which will import all their colleges for us as college counselors, and we'll be able to send out their transcripts and recommendations through that process. We will host over 150 college rep visits so seniors can get in front of reps who might actually be reading their application from all over the country and even outside of the country from places like UC Dublin. We'll provide targeted scholarship info sessions and workshops. And then we will also be available for individual student conferences and be actively seeking out our seniors to make sure they get the support they need. I see questions in the chat too, so we'll make sure to take a look at that. And if it's my question, I'll try to get to it. Parent focus. So we will have a senior kickoff. It most likely will be toward the end of August to get our minds right and get ready for the kickoff to the college process. We also host multiple workshops like financial aid offer letter analyzation, the FAFSA, which is a beast and hopefully will be better next year, scholarships, and all sorts of things to support your family. And then we also have the opportunity as well, if families would like to do college and career conferences, they can. But usually at the senior level, what we see is seniors do take ownership over their process and they really lead the college process and the college work with us. But we are still available to answer questions for families and assist them. And then as far as the timeline, when we come back in August, your senior will want to connect with their college counselor. We'll have our post-secondary focused advisory days where your seniors can work on their college applications. They'll want to finalize their college list, again, that 8 to 12 colleges in August that they want to apply to. They'll want to go visit reps. They can also do, each school is going to have on their website a ton of events for your child to either visit in person or even virtual visits if your kid cannot make it out to a school in Florida or someplace like that. Take advantage of those virtual visits as well and info sessions. There'll be fall testing of the SAT and ACT that your student can take advantage of outside of school. We'll begin applications and complete them. The financial aid process, I think it'll open in December, but it might be in October, but we'll be ready whenever it opens. And then you want your senior to continue to work hard in their classes because they get this idea in their head that they don't actually need to do well after first semester senior year. But it's really important that they keep pushing to the very end because colleges are still going to look at their final transcript and they're going to want to know how they're doing. As far as the role in the parent and guardian in this process, I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, but sometimes it almost feels like my 5-year-old is a teenager. So if you tell your teenager one thing, like, I really like this college, they might buck in the other direction and say, I hate this college. So try to be more like open-minded and just listen. Sometimes it's good to keep your opinions to yourself until later, so they don't automatically decide they don't like something just because you like it. So set some of those parameters about what's expected for cost and distance so your child has a reasonable college process. You can talk about your own college search and experience, but also just know that things are really wacky with admissions. They've changed a lot since we went to college. So definitely ask us. You can ask us about anything with trends. We're constantly attending PDs for colleges and updates for admissions, so we understand the landscape. So we are open book. Don't hesitate to email us and ask about particular schools, of anything you have a question about. Again, suggest schools, but don't insist because it might backfire because of the way teenagers are seeking out their independence as part of their developmental process. Another really good tip we got, it was establish college free zones. So you can set a day of the week where you'll talk about college stuff, do some action steps. And then if your child doesn't accomplish those action steps, then you can talk about college all the time. But if you give it a time span that's very centralized, then they have a little break in their brain and then can do all their action steps and talk about it once a week to see how they're doing. Next. And then as far as the students' role, we really want them to take this time at the end of the year and over the summer to really identify what's important to them. They can manage their search and drive the process. We sent every single junior their own college application research tool that they can use to organize that research. We really want them to understand why they're choosing a particular college, why they want to go there, and what are they going to get out of that experience as far as clubs, sports, activities, classes that they want to take, professors they want to study with. So this is the time to really dig in and get excited about what their options are. Request and complete the letter of rec process. All the rising seniors on my caseload actually did request a letter of recommendation. Their next step would be to just request that in Maya next year. And right now it's really the teacher who's writing the letter of recommendation and taking care of the process. So they did a good job with that. They want to communicate with the admissions officers. Admissions officers actually like to hear from students as opposed to parents. So again, we're going to hear that advocacy piece again. We do a little catch and release and scaffold for students. So we might help them write the first email professionally and then let them go to try it on the next communication. With their essays, we want them to really reflect their own voice. We want them to sound like a teenager. We're going to help them with the grammar and the structure. But we really avoid as college counseling making them sound like older people like us because we want them to have their own authentic voice. If they are using testing, we want them to make sure that they're preparing and send scores if requested by the colleges. Most colleges will accept unofficial self-reported scores, and they'll let you know if they actually need you to send official ones. Express gratitude to teachers. So once the teachers have written these letters of recs, it's really nice to give them a thank you. Even a verbal thank you would be helpful, just to know that the teacher put in hours of work to make sure that recommendation is stellar. A thank you is always a nice follow-up. And we will help them make sure they complete and submit applications by the deadline. A huge majority, I would say like 97% of our students apply early action. And we're kind of pushing them along in that process, making sure that they're on track where they need to be. And then these are our important dates, and we'll open it up for questions in just a moment. So that's our first day of school. We'll be offering all school testing on October 2nd for seniors, and then there's final exams December 16th through the 20th. One quick additional tip I'll offer before questions is it might be a good idea for your almost senior to start an email address that's separate from their DePaul and personal email that's just for college, because they're going to get so many emails. It'd be nice if you have access as well, so you can just make sure they don't miss scholarship deadlines and those very important things like housing. But that'll stop their DePaul email and their personal email from being bombarded with thousands of college emails. So that's another thing that they could do over the summer to help them prepare, is compartmentalize the college stuff into a different email so they can easily find what their next steps are. All right. Now let's take a look. Okay. All right. And Tony's here. Hello, Tony. Are there any questions? I see there's like service hour ones. Were they all answered in the chat, Maria, or is there anything that needs to be answered out loud?
Sorry, I'm starting to, I haven't gotten through all of them, so just trying to kind of quickly go through them as I think we may have answered all of them that I think the only one we didn't, so is it still possible to register for a college campus tour during the ramp up camp in early June? So I'm not sure I understand that one. Is it for,
Yes, just contact Tony and then we will
okay,
figure that out. The 2 ramp-up sessions we have over the summer are currently full. So if
yes,
you have not registered, someone would have to drop out to make space. However, we are offering an August shortened version. And I can say that any kid who did not do ramp up, they still were helped holistically. So if there's some reason you didn't get in or you can't make it, just know that we are going to individually help your kids get on pace with their coming up. Second letter of recommendation, they can contact their counselor and we'll send them the required form if they haven't done it already. Yeah. Let me see. And then do you want me to take them off mute so they can ask any questions out loud, Maria?
sure.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to change the security settings. Give me 1 second. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Where's unmute themselves? Okay. Now everybody should be able to unmute themselves. There we go. It's on now. So if you do have a question and you want to ask out loud, you should have the ability to unmute, I believe. If you don't want to, that's okay too. And I'm going to make Tony a co-host so he can be seen. There he goes. And see maybe if he wants to add anything. Cool.
Can I just
Hey,
ask a
everybody.
question? Oh,
Live from O'Hare. Great job, guys. I caught the last.
Mean, you can take the music off right now because they're going to start announcements.
I'm sorry. I think someone was maybe starting a question. Did someone have a question?
Yes, I was wondering on the October 2nd all testing date, do they take the SAT that day or what is the testing exactly that day?
I can get that one. Yeah, so the plan is for the seniors to have an optional SAT. We haven't worked out the details on that. It'll be an opt-in scenario. We have to pay for the tests. So we'll have a date that we set where we have seniors opt in, but that would be for the seniors and SAT day.
Just wondering if it's possible to like highlight anything that was in the chat that are questions you think might be generic, because I wasn't following through the chat. I was listening to your presentation, so.
Let me take a quick peek. There was a lot of question about service hours. Oh, someone asked what ramp up is, so that one I can answer. Ramp up is basically a common application boot camp where we're going to help students start their common applications and walk them through a lot of sections. And it's been very helpful in the past. So students kind of get a kickstart and have a little less to do over the summer. The official application process for most colleges opens August 1st. So the common application will roll over. And they'll have some of that work done before August 1st. However, this is also an application that students can work on their own as well. I also see there is no orientation for seniors this year. So if someone asked about orientation, no orientation for seniors this year. Any other questions?
The service hour questions were answered in the chat. Yes, you do mobile serve over the summer. That's the bottom line.
I have a question for this, Kara Burke. So say, for instance, you're considering like different college visits this summer, like how soon would you have your schedule of what colleges will be in person, like in September and October? Like if we know for sure a school is going to be, on one of those Wednesday mornings, I was just wondering how soon will we know what schools are going to be at DePaul?
I can grab that, Kate. Kara, yeah, we have not even opened that scheduling system for the colleges. Our day schedule, our bell schedule, hasn't been fully locked in. So like last year, we want to make it available during the times that students don't have instructional time. My guess is it's going to be during the advisory time, very similar time. We'll probably make that available to college reps in the next couple of weeks. And then over the summer, generally, they'll fill it in. Typically, August is the time we see the most schools start planning their fall.
Okay.
We should have a pretty good sense of who's coming and when, typically like the last week of August.
Oh, okay, thanks so much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then maybe that would determine some fall trips. Okay, thank you.
Couple of these last ones. So do we have a graduation date for class of 2025? We do not yet. So that spring calendar has not been finalized. That should be out shortly. You do not need to sign up to take this SAT on October 2nd. We do that internally. There was, I think, a question about the DNC, and so we have actually spent a lot of time talking and considering the dates of the Democratic National Convention. And since school starts, I believe, like the day before the tail end of it, and we felt that where we're geographically located, far enough from where the DNC will be happening, that we did not change, our start date. Again, have, consulted with members of the city and consulted with law enforcement. And so we felt that from the information that was provided that, it's safe for us to begin school at that time. Again, if things, do change, then, obviously, we will need to respond to that. But at this time, no, we will keep that date the same.
That's also a question about college application timing. So applications in general, the fall application season begins August 1st. early action / early decision usually takes place November 1st or November 15th, with a small handful of Southern colleges requiring their applications to be done by October 15th for early consideration. There is still regular decision as well. However, our students work with us to do early action and early decisions so they can get the kind of like the first choice of decisions and merit money, basically. And then you also have time then in the winter to reconsider if you need to apply to more schools. So that's why we kind of push them along in a sprint in the fall to get them done by that time.
There was one more question. How does a student complete a second letter of recommendation process?
Yes, so they would want to contact their college counselor, and we will reach out with a form and a kind of assess if it's a necessity. Do they need more than 2? Do they need 1? Do they need 0? So we're just kind of ensuring that students have the right number when they reach out to us for the schools they are thinking of applying to.
And just generally as a follow-up to Ms. Koschel there, we're drawing a pretty hard line with 370 juniors now rising into senior year, that 1 letter is the standard. 2 letters is only if required. It's a lot of pressure on our faculty. That process started months ago. Although the process is not closed, we'll make very rare exceptions moving forward for a second letter of recommendation, and only in a sense where it's one of the 70 schools that require a second.
Sorry, we couldn't make that out.
All right. If there aren't any more questions, then we are recording. So I'm going to stop share. We'll make sure to share this with everybody in the slides. So it'll be existing on the DePaul College Prep website, I'm sure as well. Thank you to everyone who helped present tonight. And as college counseling too, if you have more college questions, we like to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to us. It's not a closed door after we meet with you for your family session. So email us with any questions and we can get back to you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording and close this link.